Good morning. It's good to see you all today. It's Sunday, and you know what that means. It's time for some live discipleship. My name is Jessica Roy, and I'm here with my good friend, mentor, and the founder of Kingdom Foundations, Ravi Kandal. And we're just excited to really share some things that have happened over the last couple of weeks with our team and a trip to Israel. So we have, of course, there will always be opportunities to have some, to learn, to have some transformation and discipleship, obviously some healing. And so just believe that the testimony of what has happened and bringing you into that story, it's just so important and really, really exciting to see what's beginning. So today we're going to go there, but first, as always, say hello to us in the comments. We really like to see who's here with us and just enjoy a back and forth conversation. So let's get started here. I'm going to make sure I can hear Ravi. Can you say something there, Ravi?
Yes. It's been good. I'm in Colorado Springs, sitting outside the car. It's not that cold. Fascinatingly, it's beautiful out here, but it's so good. It's so good. Yeah. It was a rapid fire this past. It was a good conference yesterday and 2 days. It was really something needed to my own soul, to teach. But yeah, thank you. This has been fun.
It's good. Since we were with you all 2 weeks ago, because last week we were in Israel. But since we were with you last time, we've been to Israel for a little over a week, and then we've hosted a women's conference. So we've been busy.
Yeah.
And there's been a lot happening that it's been fun and
it is
so good to see the Lord work in these places. Yeah.
Amen.
Well, it's good to see you here, Ben and Camry. That's awesome. I know there was a little bit of a hiccup. One of our good friends, Sherry, she texted me this morning and said that the time on the live was showing a different time. So I bet people will see and catch up a little bit later. Good morning, Heather. Welcome. It's good to see you. So, well, let's start the morning with a little bit of Q&A, and just like we usually do. So if you have any questions for Ravi, they can be general, they can be specific to this topic. Go ahead and put those questions in the comments, and I'll choose one or two of those questions to get us going. Good morning, Faye. It's good to see you here. Thank you. And we'll just see where the Lord leads us today. So I couldn't actually pick just one thing from the Israel trip that would be a highlight. The whole thing was just hard to even imagine that we ended up where we ended up. So it was just a good adventure and fun as a team to do that together.
Amen. Let me ask you, Jessica. So what was your highlight what was your highlight in Israel trip?
Highlight to Israel?
Yeah.
That's tough. It's tough to pick one thing. I mean, really, it really is hard to pick one thing. I think that one of the things that's enjoyable about our work is that we get to do events, we get to teach, and we get to bring impact in this way through coaching and through the events like the women's event. It was really fun to go and minister together, and it felt more like a listening place. So I got to hear. It wasn't planned, but by the end of the trip, each day we had heard and been guided by someone from a different people group, and just to hear their perspectives and to listen to the way they think. And I just loved the new ways that they described their life and described what was important to them about where they live in Israel. And so I think that that's probably my biggest highlight, is that I just felt like I got to go and listen and be curious with people. And that was really exciting. So what about you? What was your highlight?
Yeah, my highlight was in Bethlehem. That spooked me out in a sense, because there's one sister of mine. She's a sister from another mother, called Sherry Dara. Oh my goodness. I had to keep her in my loop in terms of where is she, what's going on. She's a pilot. She is
Fearless.
she is yeah, very fearless. And she somehow found a, what do you call it, a cave. And I was there on when I just entered in the cave, and she and another amazing woman, amazing team member. Her name is Carla too. They were these two, a father. We were in a church where Mary died, and they did something that they shouldn't be doing. They stood up on a chair that Bibles are kept, and they didn't know anything better, so they stood up on the chair to see something. And the guy there, the father, just showed up and says, "You guys are cowgirls."
Yeah.
I don't know
I was
what
like,
it means,
oh no,
but,
those Americans.
yeah. So these two cowgirls were literally, anyways. So they got into in the Bethlehem. It's a fascinating word, but they got into this cave, and they got into the cave. They went through the cave, and when they went in, they asked me to come, and I said I didn't have any guts to go in. We don't know the place, we don't know where we're going, and we don't know where the cave is going. There's no guide who told us to where this cave is going. The guide is far of a distance, and then she walks in, and the voice slowly goes off, and completely gone. And here I am freaking out alone. And I brought, Ron, the husband of Carla, and my other friend. And
Carla's
like, where
husband.
are these guys? Yeah. So
Jack and I ended up finding you, and your eyes were so big. You're like, they haven't come out.
yeah, that's right. I was like, they haven't come out. What should I do? Should I call the cops? Should I call them? And anyways, then I walked up, and there they were. They found a whole nother exit to it. It was incredible. Oh, the whole trip was awesome, because that Bethlehem was not only the land of Jesus being born. It's a place where King David lived. It's a place where David was walking around as a shepherd, and the caves and after caves, tunnels after tunnels, and it was the best time ever. There's so many things that happened. Yeah, that was my highlight. My essence. I didn't even ask the Lord where they are. That was a funny question, and He could have told me, "Don't worry." But that anxiousness didn't even dawn to me. Oh my goodness, I could ask the Lord, but He was freaking out for that minute. Anyways, it was good.
It was good. It was a fun time for our team, and those joined out of the team to just have fun and explore some of the places that all the Bible stories happened. And I did like Bethlehem too. And our tour guide, that was leading us through that portion, was just super, super knowledgeable. I mean, she knew how to describe what the name of the town meant. And so for those of us that like to geek out on those kinds of details, our curiosity was satisfied. So we're stoked. Well, all right. So we have some more people that have come on here. We're diving into where we went in Israel, and just gonna see that as we share testimonies, as we share why we even went in the first place. Because this wasn't just a sightseeing trip. Like we had some tours and we got to enjoy looking around, but it was a very purposeful trip. And we want to share that with you guys, because it's actually, by sharing it, we're inviting you in to the story that's happening and what's going to play out again in the next year. So if you have any questions for Ravi, go ahead and ask those in the comments. And I can pull any questions that you have into the conversation. If you see Ravi's name in the comments and he's typing and liking, that's actually me today if you're live. And let's just dive in and get started. Ravi, will you share with everybody why in the world we went to Israel in the first place?
Well, long time ago, the Lord shared about why He wanted us to go, because He wanted two reasons He wanted us to go there is to bring healing between. This is fascinating. For us to go there is to bring healing between Roman Catholics and Jews.
Mm-hmm.
These were the two groups who have this strong presence there, and these two are the people who don't understand why each other have this issue of power. You see,
Mm-hmm.
so when the Lord said to bring them in, he was saying He was going to heal, come on, the issue of pride. So the job was, the first job is to go bring unity between these two, bring them together, and heal the pride, so that they could live out of harmony, not out of power struggle. You see, when you live out of power struggle, you live out of issues of trust.
You're cutting in and out just slightly. If you all in the comments can tell us if Ravi's cutting.
Yeah.
Okay.
I
mean, it's
when go ahead.
It's interesting because what Ravi's saying is true, right? Historically speaking, there's been quite a bit of animosity between the two groups, the Roman Catholic Church believers there and through the Jewish people. And I thought that it was very interesting, Ravi, maybe you can speak to this, that one of the individuals, one of the leaders that we were meeting with said, well, this is happening already. Like, people have come and they're working to see reconciliation between believers, Messianic believers and Jewish believers and Roman Catholics. He's like, what makes this different? And that's something that I would love to hear from you, Ravi, and I think everybody else listening would like to hear, like, how does what we're proposing and starting a movement with, how does it look different from all the other things that are happening for reconciliation?
Mm-hmm. Well, the biggest thing is, number one, they're already doing it from a point of Messianic Jews and charismatic Roman Catholics. But the more they're coming together, what is not really happening is the Jews, is the real Jews. I don't know what you call them, Orthodox Jews. There you go. Orthodox Jews and Orthodox Roman Catholics are the ones who are not coming to the table. Why? Because number one, biggest reason is they don't come on. Their belief is not with Jesus. Their beliefs is based on rituals that was passed on. So they see life around rituals, not life around worship.
I mean, I think we can all get into that space. So I'm sure those of us listening, you were like, okay, yeah, I see that in myself.
So when you take Jesus off from the equation of trust, which brings worship, and worship brings opportunities. You see, growth, pretty much. So in other words, they don't have Jesus. They don't have they're ignoring Jesus and positioning their heart from what they already know. So they're not willing to come to know what they don't know called Jesus. Like, though they know who Jesus is, but they're ignoring that Jesus brought messiahship. Jesus brought messiahship called Christ. See, they're ignoring the Christ, the relationship with Jesus. So our chance, the reason we're going, the dad gave us this assignment. I didn't understand why would God give this assignment now. When I went there, oh my goodness, this assignment is going into the Hindu priest camp.
I mean, it was, yeah. What you're saying is that it was more intense than maybe you expected on the outset.
Oh my goodness, standing in the middle of that wailing wall, it's like you don't feel it, but you feel fear. You see, you feel mistrust, not fear. You see, there's a difference between fear and mistrust, because fear should lead you to worship, and worship should lead you to trust. Get the point? But mistrust will always lead you to unbelief. Unbelief will always lead you to confusion.
That's good.
You see, so the confusion is what makes you rely on insecurity. So all around is the shame culture. So wherever shame is, there is fear. Wherever fear is, there is insecurity. Wherever insecurity is, there is there is confusion, right? So my point in saying that is that these three things, fear, insecurity, and confusion, when I saw open-heartedly, even though they're doing what they're doing, but when they come out of what they call worship, so what they call tradition, they're not producing, because anytime you produce anything based out of trust, you bring revolution. You bring change. Making sense? Anytime you bring anything out of trust, you bring change. You see, change is a motivation. Change is not a chance. It's a motivation. So they don't want motivation to happen by taking away tradition from it. So when you bring Jesus, you're bringing motivation. You're bringing change. You're bringing growth. You're bringing what I call healing of resentment. See, they were resented. They were resenting. They're resenting in fear because they know the history of Christians being murderers. So they're not resenting Jesus, but they're resenting, in the name of resenting Jesus, they're resenting Christians. I'm making sense. You see, they have to have, because wherever there's insecurity falls back to reasoning.
There's a flaw in our reasoning that takes us into feeling not sure-footed or
Instead of reasoning, you're supposed to be obedient, because faith creates the presence of obedience. Insecurity creates the presence of entitlement of what you did before. I mean, entitlement of knowing, keeping what you know already, right? But here, with faith, you generously give away. You give away things that you don't want, or you give away things there's more. It makes sense. So the more you give, the more you receive. Here, there's no giving more at all. I mean, this is a generation. These are people who God created, who God chose, who God jealouses. You see, and with their wisdom, Apple phone should have been created in Israel. Facebook was supposed to be established in Israel, not in America, they're supposed to be entrepreneurs, the best entrepreneurs, because entrepreneur God is living in there. He loves them too much. It's the smallest country in the world, and no one can destroy it because God is there. God's still been there. So my point in saying that is then they're ignoring change, they're ignoring opportunities then. So that means they're ignoring Jesus, they're ignoring change, ignoring opportunities. So wherever Jesus is, there is growth. Wherever Jesus is opportunity, the opportunities leads them into new things that they never thought they could have done. You see, Roman Catholics came, they made it modernized.
They made it modernized?
They did modernize it. If it is only Jews, they wouldn't have touched nothing.
Yeah.
Because tradition doesn't like change. You see, they want to keep it, that's a whole other thing I want to talk about it. But my point in saying that is that I saw so much of what I call false fear of losing power. Am I making sense? Yeah. Losing power, because without Jesus, you go after the fear of losing power, losing things, losing. You know what I mean? They're grieving over what they lost, but fearing what they think they might lose more. Mm-hmm. So when they wail, they're wailing not wailing in the fear mode. There's another word I want to search. I want to give. It's because when you give more fear time, you become anxious in a sense. See, when you live out of anxiousness, you're living out of death. Mm-hmm. See, so they're wailing in the presence of death, not in the presence of life. When you're wailing in the presence of life, you worship, not fear. And then when I was taken to another Messianic Jewish churches and people, and I interviewed them. We all talked to them and see, is it possibility? Could we do this? Can we do this? I mean, their lives are so awesome. I mean,
so much joy.
Yeah, you should see some photographs I posted. Their lives. There's 80 years old people who came to know Jesus, but they're still Jews, but they're so different. Their lives are nothing but lightened up by worship and trust. You see, so yeah. It's a beautiful. So the solution to this is how can I help them to bring them Jesus in their lives? You know, Jesus is going to come very fast, very soon. He's going to come through those gates. He's coming there. He's coming. He's dropping himself in that in the Mount of Olives and walk through the golden gates and come into the tomb. It is so much of. I mean, what the Bible says, I was able to see it.
Yeah.
You see, they close the gates. I mean, there's a whole other talk. But so my point in saying that is, how can I bring Jesus? How can it's an outreach place, a place we can bring Jesus to. And when the Lord gave me a challenge in India to do church planting, He would take me only to influential people such as high caste and share the gospel to them, and then have them wash the leg of a low caste, that is untouchable. Then the church begins. Here's the same concept. He's bringing us to the high caste Jews, Orthodox Jews, and bringing them Jesus to them and see the salvation happen. That's never heard. It's where group after group of Orthodox Jews coming to know Jesus, and that's a promise of the Lord to me, saying that Orthodox Jews will come to know Jesus and worship Jesus with the same people whose life will also change from Orthodox Roman Catholics. Mm-hmm. So these two accept Jesus as their personal savior and give up their tradition to worship. Can you see? So that day is coming. I mean, if God gives me that, I mean, God brings that to me to bring that. Which is already brought. But I'm looking forward to see that happen. He's not doing it out of individual. He's doing it out of mass people getting recovered from mistrust to salvation, healing from pride or insecurity or death of anxiousness coming to know Jesus. And that day is coming soon in 2023, next year. It's coming. So yeah, the groups by groups are getting saved, and but there will be still little number of people who are stubborn to. That's why Jesus will come, to bring them Jesus. So but there are so many other Orthodox Christians who are searching, but stuck at the punishment, of being non-ritual.
Yeah.
I hope I'm making sense.
Yeah. I mean, what you're describing, like we were saying earlier, it's definitely something that is a heart posture that's common across humanity.
Yeah.
And we're seeing it play out specifically in these two people groups. And just the promise of the Lord to come and bring masses of people to himself within that space is such an exciting promise. And having, and those of you that have been with us for a while, you know that last year there was a push towards the end of the year. We started around November 1st, about this time, praying and fasting for France. And there were specific things that we were looking to see healing in for France. And we went after that for ourselves too, right? If you remember, we had a different teaching every week that brought healing into different struggles that we all have. But as we're all receiving healing, the intercession that's going into France was making a sound in the world. And then we ended up having the event over New Year's, where Father Antoine, our good friend from France, hosted Arise France over the New Year. And if you remember, there was it was COVID. I remember arriving and there were all these questions of, are people even gonna come out, because a new strain had started. And over 800 people filled this Catholic church in France, both evangelicals and Roman Catholics. And the sound that we've seen after that of the healing and going after the Lord in that way has made a massive change and ripple effect through France and through our team. And that was part of the reason that we were going, right? Is that we're bringing going with Father to Israel and he after doing that in France, I mean, he has the vision. He's seeing and going after the Lord's places and going after reconciliation. So he went with us to Israel, he and a few of his team members, and we're excited to gear up and bring more of the Arise experience, I guess, because it's more than just an event. It's a complete change, like a shift that happens when we take it somewhere. So I'm excited to see that happen in Israel.
Yeah, it is. I'm looking forward, because that's what's going to happen. So we're trying to bring in, so we got some permission, we got some excitement there. They're still processing it. It'll take time because, so when they come together, and we're coming together in December 31st, 2023, where these two people are going to come, these two groups are going to come together. And then when they come together, yes, there is a healing happening, but also praying salvations into these two groups too. Because prayer, it's not submission. Prayer is revival.
Ooh, that's good.
You see?
Yeah.
So when I'm praying, I'm reviving into new space. So for the Lord, when I'm coming together in group, more than two or three people coming together, there is just not a revival, it's a spark of revival. It's like I love this autumn bombs, or in America in the 4th of July, they spark pot.
Fireworks, yes.
Yeah, that one fireworks. It's like it's just consistent tack. That's what prayer does. When we come together in collision with with that collusion or whatever that word is, it's in a unity come together. You're making an effort of bringing that sparks, not just once, consistently sparking from one thing to another. It's a domino effect when these two come together. So that's my dream, that's my vision, to bring this two big mountains collide together and just make the mountains be a valley for others to come. See, so can we bring these two mountains for God to heal them to become a valley?
Yeah,
a place to survival, a place to rest, a place to grow. You know what I mean? It's not no more a place of intimidation. So when this two mountains come on, and the Bible says when the mountains collide, they equalize. They're flat. When they're flat, you see what other side Jesus has for us. You see, so that's my point. That's my desire. I love coming together, but I love when they come together is to bring Jesus into hearts who have issues of trust and live out of anxiousness. That healing can come through prayer. So that's my desire. So that's what we're going after. So that's why we were there, just to feel, just to test, is it even possible for us to do this? Because I can go street evangelize. I won't even be stopped. I tried it. I personally tried it. Stopped a Jew to ask about Jesus, and in a sneaky way, because there were two things there. There's religion, and there was deception. Deception means, oh my goodness, the people who are selling things, and my anger was just like Jesus. I thought to take a whip and whip these marketers. Their deception is they will sell $1 material to $100. Like, really? Dude, you're talking to an Indian who knows how to
you know how to barter.
Yeah, it's like they're selling me $1 item to $100. Like, oh my goodness, Lord, give me a whip. So anyways, so I talked to this guy, a Jew there, and understanding, hey, how much would this cost if I had to buy the same thing in your store? Or there was that day, it was Sabbath, and all Jews stores were closed. And so I asked him, he was just telling him. So then I asked him about Jesus, and he shut down immediately. Even though I was telling him, even though I was telling him his life, he shut down. He was telling him, his son was saying, "Oh man, you are a psychologist." Yeah, but how do you know all of these things? I totally forgot to tell you all. In the street, me and anyways, Ben, or not Ben, Denver, he stopped and ran away. He didn't. He stopped the Jew. He stopped. He helped me to connect with a Jew, and he just left. I don't know where. By the time I saw around, no one was there. Me alone with this Jew. So anyways,
I saw you outside with him.
yeah, that one. So he, even though I was bringing the information of what he does not know, he was shocked, no doubt. But when I brought Jesus to it, he just said, "You know what? I gotta go."
Yeah.
He had time. He was from Boston, living in Boston, he would come every 6 months to see his kids, and kids didn't want to live there. They didn't want to leave with his father. But he had it's just a crazy example. My point in saying that is that the land lives constantly around anxiousness, anxious of feeling that their land would be stolen again. Their things would be stolen again. Their purposes would be stolen again. You see, the fear of losing is huge there, and that's why they hurdle. You see, they hurdle because of fear of that's what happened. That's what happened in the Tower of Babel, right? Babel, that tower that I forgot his name. He was nothing but the grandson of Noah. see, and he built this huge tower. Why? They didn't. Number one, this is crazy. It's yes, that's we all think biblically. We all think it's because there was pride. No, it was not pride. It was fear of having, what is that word? The flood to
flood.
show back again. They came together. Let's build an ark and build a tower. When the same flood shows up, we could survive with this tower.
Yeah.
You see, they hurdled in fear, and when you hurdle with fear, you build a security based out of your protection, not provision, not trusting God's provision.
Yeah.
You see? So what did God do? He shattered them. That's where languages came. It was their fault. Languages came in. I don't understand English much, but anyway, it doesn't matter. But my point in saying that is, that it's good coming together, but when you come together, you worship much stronger person than you. Not rely on what you already fear.
Mm-hmm.
You see, so come together to worship the higher authority.
It's good.
You see, so yeah, and that's the point of how they've hardened their heart with fear of losing, not with worship.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I learned about this place. When I come back home, called US, I see faith so rampant everywhere, even though there is a little bit of unbelief, but every denomination here, they worship Jesus out of faith. Most of them, at least, most predominant religion worship Jesus through faith. They worship, they think they're worshiping their tradition. They're not worshiping tradition. They're worshiping fear. They're worshiping anxiousness. You see, so that's what God constantly said: don't worship idols. Rituals is idolism.
Yeah. So Ravi, let's shift into, I mean, with this understanding, what's in it for the people in this community to receive freedom too?
Oh, it's hot. Well, ask the question again.
I was asking that. So you've been talking about kind of what you experienced there and what you noticed and kind of what the Lord was talking to you about with worshiping fear. And so what is it for the people in our community here? What is there for us to, if you've noticed this, how do we experience healing as well?
Well, I said 3 phrases consistently today. It's what you fear is what you worship. What you worship, you trust.
Yeah.
Fear means not trembling. Fear means honoring.
Mm-hmm.
See, when I honor the value of Jesus, I'll worship him. You see? So if I don't learn about the value who Jesus is, what he has, what he's done, because if I don't learn the ways of God, I'm not understanding his heart then, right?
Yeah.
So if I'm understanding his ways, I'm understanding his value. And that worth, that value helps me to worship. So when I don't understand his value, I feel unworthy then. If I understand his value, I feel I tag onto him.
Yeah.
I was teaching this amazing. I said this. I already said I teach this amazing sermon. No, yeah, it was given to me from the Lord. But he said this. This is crazy. This is so stinking crazy. Is it okay? I can share this because he said
for it.
He,
As long as-
because he came to earth to give us his inheritance,
Mm,
right? So when you fear him, you have a relationship of honor. That means you you gain time with him. Come on, you gain time with him. You have access of time with him
yeah.
when you fear him, because when you fear him, you're pleasing him. Faith comes by hearing, but you cannot please God without faith. When I fear him, I'm pleasing him.
Mm,
You see the point? So when I'm pleasing him, I'm taking a dedicated time of his in me. And that is not found in any religion.
mm,
Any religion don't give me time, because they don't have what I desire. They don't have it. That's why they don't have time. They keep running away because they don't have anything to offer. But with
no,
Jesus, he gives me a dedicated time because he knows my desire, and because he sneaked that and says, okay, I'm going to give you what I sneaked, called power and authority. You see, number one, he fear is dedicated time of his in my life. Seek ye first. Come to me, I'll give you rest. Dedicated time.
yeah.
You see? So I'm seeking him, he's dedicating his time to me.
Good.
Right?
So when we're seeking him, we're creating a space that he has to show up.
Yeah, he has to.
Like
So
place, yeah.
and it's not he has to, but he's stuck because he loves me too much. You see, he loves me too much and saying, Daddy, I want your time. It's like my son. Come on, if he sleeps on my shoulders, I will never be angry.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You see? So when that means, come on. So when I'm resting in him, he's dedicating time to say, oh my goodness, my son is sleeping on my shoulders. I'm going to take some time.
Yeah.
It's okay. Let him sleep. He's tired. I'll take time to feel his breath, to feel that love, that trust that he carries to sleep on my shoulders. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
that's my honor. But at the same time, so number one, I'll go fast. So number one, the when I'm talking inheritance is dedicated time. Number two, I just loved it. When I say inheritance is not what he went with. It's not where he went. Inheritance is a house and golden streets and the cap or what are that you're going to get in heaven. No, it's not about that. Inheritance, everybody, this is crazy. Inheritance means whatever he did on earth is mine.
Mm.
Let me say this. Can I go deeper?
Yeah,
That
please.
means, come on, when he fasted, you're gonna laugh at it. Inheritance of his is he, come on, you believe he died for me, right?
Yeah.
He said, I'm accessing heaven through his death. I'm accessing his heaven through his resurrection, right? I'm accessing wealth that is hidden in the dark. I'm accessing my treasure hidden in the dark by the enemy.
Mm.
When I go to the enemy, I'm not intimidated by him. But what do I show him is, I show him what my dad did 40 days, 40 nights, fasting and praying. So I'm accessing that what he did today without me fasting and praying.
Well, So you're saying that we get we're not, I mean, and this is not a just, we're not just getting the death and resurrection. We're getting the power of the fasting, the walk of the wilderness. All of it is ours. We get that victory.
Yes.
For us. That's us.
Yes.
That's good.
I was blown away. Like
Yeah.
he said, you don't ask. Ravi, you're not asking. It's like, Lord, I've asked everything in the world. I asked a car, I asked this, I asked you, you gave me everything. But I didn't ask his inheritance, his
What is that?
experience.
His experience.
Yes.
So do you mean that we, like, it's there, we have to ask, or that it's even there even if we don't ask?
It's there, but you'll only open up when you open that up. It'll only open when you open. If you don't open, it'll be closed. It's there, but you don't know what's in that.
Yeah.
Right? So when I'm asking, when the enemy attacks me, I'm reminding him, dude, my dad already did it. You're already defeated. Remember, you didn't show up for 3 years. You didn't show up. Your tail didn't show up. So you're not going to show up. You're not going to show your tail to me because he's already defeated you. My dad defeated you already there.
Yeah.
I mean, the enemy hates that. I mean, in James, and it says, ask him. Ask. You didn't get what because you didn't ask him. That means ask. Ask the Lord to give me your experience so I can reveal his experience in the places that which is intimidated by his experience. You know there is a tool that can destroy the house in few minutes, in few seconds.
Yeah.
When you can, in bare hands, if I want to go to airport at the particular time at the time, if I don't use the tools or vehicle to go get there, I'm missing out at leaving Colorado to my home, right? God's given me brain to use instruments that helps me go faster. So that's the key. When Jesus comes in, he uses no shortcuts. He doesn't use long cuts. He doesn't like to use longer way. He always gives me a shortcut, a short process, which is 40 days. When I ignore that 40 days, he gives me this merry-go-round for 40 years. You see the point? It's that if I'm ignoring that, if I'm ignoring, that means Jesus is all about revealing mysteries. Yesterday's mystery is ask what I already did. Ask what I already did. You should fast and pray to see what he did in that 40 days so I can take that in you. It's okay. But it's okay still not to fast, but still ask of him.
Yeah.
But don't take religious, please. This fasting is good. It's good for our body. It's good for our soul. It's good for our mind. I'm not ignoring the fact that fasting is important. Jesus did it. We should also do it. But I can claim his experience in the spiritual terms so that enemy has no power over me to use my authority.
That's good.
He won't stop me to use my authority in the place that he wants me to go. So I didn't teach it yesterday. I was supposed to teach this. Yeah, I don't know. Did I teach this? No, I didn't teach this.
No, not this part.
No, this is for you. This is for you all who are listening to me today. Yeah. So ask the experience of Jesus on earth. He'll give it to you. It's not old. It's still real. That Jesus, my dad, my Christ, has the same power still today. An enemy hates that. He hates me to take that into my spirit and have my soul blinded by the experience of Jesus.
Yeah,
called worship.
that's good. I mean, that's so hopeful, because I think a lot of times as believers, um,
Mhm.
one of the desires we have when we're wanting to see the supernatural happen is a little bit of a frustration that that we want more effectiveness. We want more,
Mhm.
we want the feeling of closeness with the Lord, all of
Mhm.
those things. But this is hopeful to say, hey, maybe we need to ask a different question, and we need to think about this just slightly differently, because
Yeah.
his experience can be in the normal meal. His experience can be with finding Zacchaeus, or all of these things. Like it just can transform how
Yeah.
we experience every bit of our life.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean,
That's so,
he didn't
so
come
good.
on. Yeah. He didn't come on earth to sightsee what's happening here.
Yeah.
He came to give us his experience. Come on.
Yeah.
That's my inheritance, not heaven, not
His
just heaven.
experience is our, is
Yeah.
our
Come
inheritance.
on. Yeah.
Yeah. That's so good.
Yeah.
I feel like that is something that we can dig in for months and
Yeah.
still dig
Seriously.
in to get new revelation on what that looks like for
Yeah.
for us to say, okay, well, that's great in theory, but how do we actually pay attention to his experience while I'm doing what I'm doing in my day to day? So
Mm.
good. We do have
Amen.
a question here. Although we've kind of run out of time. So Ben, I see your question. I'll get it to Ravi, and we'll put it in a post during the week. But Ravi, what do you want to leave people with this morning?
Wow. A lot. Uh,
Yeah.
yeah. Well, if this is what Dad said today to give you all, he said, yes, there are three things. If you please me and worship me through, I mean, because Dad is not looking for worship. He's looking for worshipers. He's not insecure to have my worship to him. He's looking for someone who who's willing to surrender to his honest,
Hmm.
to his beauty, right? When I come to him, I'm saying, Lord, I desire to please to however you want me to be.
Yeah.
And have that alone takes me to the heart of surrender called worship. And that worship leads me to trust. So the point in saying that is, someone asked me, what does this look like every day? Is looking like every day means it's not resisting, but knowing everyday walk is, in everyday walk, can I remind him, can I remind my mind who I belong to? You see,
Yeah.
at least 3 times a day, at least 4 times a day, at least 10 times a day, at least once a day, can I remind my mind who I'm pleasing, what he is to me?
Yeah.
And that is worship. And that worship leads me to trust. So when I'm trusting Jesus, I've been given access to the inheritance of his experience.
Yeah.
Trust opens the door to access someone else. Come on, influence.
Yeah.
So his experience to me today is influence on earth.
Uh-huh.
Come on. So here's my challenge. My challenge is he's willing to give it to you today. He's willing. But asking is worship. Can I surrender myself away from my experiences of ritualness?
Mm.
Can I give up my rituals? Can I
Yeah.
give up my time that I give myself to things that is most important? Can I give up that to worship him, understand him, learn him? You see, can I sacrifice my obsession to make him my obsession today? Can I? It's not that 6 o'clock in the morning or 3 o'clock in the morning. No, I'm sacrificing the most important thing in my life called sleep. That is what he wants. What is important? What have you been obsessed with? Worry, anxiousness? Give that up to worship Jesus.
That's good.
The time that you give yourself meditating on that, give that up. So, number one. Number two, most importantly, when you give up, you can see God's trust in you.
Mm-hmm.
That means you can access the experience. So here's my ask. My ask is, if you want that, he's willing to give it today. If it's you, if it's anybody's asking me, say, I want it, Lord. Lord, I want your experience for today.
Yes.
If it's you, say, yes, it's, Lord, I want that. I want that. I want that inheritance of your experiences in my soul.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Your experiences all this Bible. This is my inheritance.
Yeah.
These are my inheritance. enemy can be cornered and make him homeless.
Yeah.
You want that? Say, I want it, Lord. If you don't want, it's okay. I'm just kidding.
That's good. That's good.
Come on.
Ravi, you
come
want
on.
to people?
Yeah. Come on, Daddy. Jesus,
Mm-hmm.
I pray your hand to be laid on every hands, every heart who desire to have your experiences as their inheritance. Your experiences called wisdom. Your experiences of showing your authority and demonic. Your experiences of bringing out Lazarus from death. Come on. Your experiences of forgiving people. Your experiences of so many experiences that we can talk about. We want that.
Mm-hmm.
Jesus, we claim it today. You said you haven't asked me, so I'm not going to give it to you. God, that we ask you now to give us that experiences. That emotions that came from the experience is what I want. I personally want that too. Give us that, Daddy. And give it to everybody who's asking today. Empower them, secure them with love, and give them the desire of trust.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you for breaking anxiousness today. We love you, Daddy. In Jesus, our Daddy's name. Amen.
Amen. I want that.
Amen.
Sure.
Yeah.
Well, thank you guys for joining us today. And we'll be back again next Sunday. And I'm curious what's going on in your all's world. So if you'll put a post or send me a message, tell me what you've been curious about lately, what you've been learning. And that I think that's something that will help us as we're moving into the next season, to really to go after curiosity together and see what the Lord will do with us. So go ahead and send those in or put it in the comments. And I'd like to just hear what you're learning and what you're wanting to learn. So we'll be back again, like I said, next Sunday, 10:30 a.m. Eastern time. Sorry if Facebook confused things this morning with the timing in the event, but we'll be back at our normal time. And then on Wednesday, if you would like some of our team members to pray for you, go ahead and join the Awakening Prayer Session. That happens every Wednesday at 5:30 p.m. Eastern time. So come back, enjoy. And then we will, if you're in the Arizona area, we do have an event coming up in Williams, Arizona, I think it's the first weekend in November. So come out and join us. I mean, there's just something about being together on location and just seeing what the Lord is bringing up in that time frame. So go ahead, come on out for that event. We'd love to see you. And
Mhm.
I think that that's it for this morning. Do you have anything else, Ravi?
Mhm. No, I'm good. It's
Good.
good. Yeah,
All
thank
right.
you. Yeah.
Good. Well, we love you all. We're here for you, and we're excited for your growth and transformation
Yeah.
with Jesus. And we'll see you again next week. Goodbye.
All right. Thank you, Ma.